I'm delighted to say we're now joined by what I find amazing, England's youngest player, but biggest player, I reckon, size-wise. Chandler Cunningham-South joins us. How are you, pal?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
We saw Six Nations obviously coming off the bench, and I know you must be a big listener of this, but I was saying he's got to start. He's got to start because of the difference you made physically, ball in hand, every time you came on, and then obviously the injury. Tell us about the injury. How is it? What's happened?
Sort of just tore my calf. Was a pretty random one. Just tried to start running around the corner and then just sort of felt it, and then pretty bad. But it's feeling good now, and hopefully only a couple more weeks, and then hopefully back out there for Quins.
There we go.
So it wasn't on that monster carry.
No, it wasn't on that.
Did it tighten up or not?
Maybe it tightened up. Everyone thought it was from that, but it actually was just after I was just running around the corner, and then it just happened like that. But it's tough. It didn't hurt too bad though. But
okay. Let's just double down.
Have you ever had a calf injury, Jim?
I had a grade 3.
Mate, you ain't got any calves.
Well, you say that. Paul Gustard used to be in awe on the scrummage machine of me scrummaging, saying that because I've got long legs, and you've got long legs as well, so it looks like your calves aren't that big.
But they're massive.
Well, I can't say that in front of him.
I think that's the thing. The more athletic, aren't they? It's a bit longer.
That's it. That's it. Chandler knows. That's the thing. Just give us a kind of insight then, while we're doubling down on their moments in the Six Nations. What was it like as a young man coming in? Like, you did kind of take it a little bit by storm, and that carry that we're kind of talking about there was like, fucking hell, here we go. Was it unreal? Was it an amazing experience?
It was like, it's different to what I thought it would be. It was like, I was so stressed about when I was about to go in, and I was just like, oh shit, getting a bit worried also. And then
you can swear on it all you want.
And then when I was actually in there, everyone's actually very nice and all very welcoming, coaches and the players especially. So it was good, to be fair. I really enjoyed it, learned a lot, made some new friends and stuff, which is good. And then it's got a good mix of, the young and old as well, hanging out with Manny, who's also 21. And then you've got older people like Marla and Coley. They probably won't like me saying that, but
they are.
Coley's old, isn't he? Proper old. He's a friend of ours, so we can say it as
those sort of guys who are just sort of, show you the ropes and stuff, which is good. So it's a good mix, good balance.
Yeah, look great.
Mental year for you though. Obviously London Irish, what happened there, very sad. You had a massive impact there, and we were talking about it last season and the season before and all that stuff, and then the progression to going to Quins, and then obviously into the England setup. Did you have to move house first and foremost?
Had to move house.
Had to
move house. So
because they're Guildford, aren't they?
Guildford.
Yeah,
so
a bit of a stretch from.
I didn't actually know that the training ground was based out in Guildford until
you signed it before?
Later on. No, I worked it out before, and then I was like, okay, Guildford, that's not too far. But I didn't realize how far it actually is.
The money must have been all right then. The peas are more expensive.
I just thought London, so I was just London club. Yeah, that's nice. So, but no, it's been a big change, but. I've got those players from Irish that came as well. Will Joseph, who I live with, so it's good to have him. Sort of, keeps me grounded.
He's class as well, isn't he?
Good flair, flair. Yeah, he's rehabbing at the moment as well, so he'll be back probably similar time. So it'd be good to get out there with him again.
Mental though, what happens at Irish and then go to Quins, and then next thing you know, you're running out for England, and it's been Six Nations for you was brilliant until the injury, obviously, but it's a rapid rise, isn't it? And you're just taking it. Like you said, you were nervous. And I watched you on the side of it, you're always buzzing, you're always smiling. It's just maybe it's the hair as well that adds to it. And
or maybe it is that. Is it a little bit of a front as a youngster, because you are a youngster? We were talking about the age profile of the players now.
He ain't 21,
but that's what I mean. There's a massive. We were talking about Menoncello, who's 21 as well. Daffy Jenkins coaching Wales. When we were playing internationally, 30 was the kind of age where you would be in your prime. Whereas you're watching you young lads come on, but you've got the big smile on your face.
I think,
is that a way of kind of are you genuinely loving it, or are you shitting yourself?
I think I'm genuinely just excited, buzzing before I come on, almost nerves, but excitement as well. So sort of just try and play with that.
Clear messages for you as a youngster. So is it you tell us, what is the message for when you come on?
Yeah, so I think for me, they just try and keep everything very simple, and obviously just learn my roles throughout the week, and then they just keep it simple, just go on there and do what I do. And
which is what?
Fucking get the ball and run over someone
Do you know what I mean? Give us an idea. What is it? Give us the kind of 2 or 3 things. If you had a Dan Carter black book that you had to write in, what would it be?
I think just try and take the team forward when I carry, and I've got to keep the carry high low and stuff. Don't want to carry too high, but carry the ball and hit things. So.
Hit things.
There you go. Thank fuck I'm not playing anymore. Interesting though, Jim mentioned Dan Carter there, and let's go a little bit back into your backstory. Obviously born here, moved to New Zealand. And you've probably been asked this 1,000 times. As a kid, Was it I want to play for England or I want to play for the All Blacks, or was it there was either? You have to be either or. Jim, he was English till he died, and then he found out he was Scottish.
18.
No, for me, I don't think it was ever really like there was never a jersey in my head.
Yeah.
It was just more like I want to play professional rugby, and I saw guys in like different teams. Like when the World Cup was on in 2011, like I saw the Samoa team over and seeing all those guys. I was just like, that's just cool to just be a part of a team like that and play. So I think either or I was happy with, and obviously playing for the country I was born in is pretty cool. So that's quite special.
Yeah. What was it like in New Zealand? Give us a little bit more kind of detail into that, because they are rugby till they die there. Yeah,
so I started playing when I was 4 in New Zealand. You sort of just go down to the local club and put some boots on and go and play. It's quite relaxed, but yeah, I don't know. It's very rugby mad. Like in schools, everyone plays rugby. It's not just like private schools that play, which I think is good, because it's like everyone should be able to play rugby.
100%.
And like I suppose not having football as big over there probably makes rugby even bigger. But basketball's getting bigger over there now, so that's probably the one that's rising the most. But just everything's rugby. It's like it's sort of like everyone wants to be an All Black, I guess. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, do you feel it's the same here, or is there just give us some comparison? I know it's an obvious thing to ask, but we kind of agree. But if the All Blacks have dropped off slightly, is it like participation numbers because basketball's coming to the fore?
I don't know. Well, you look at our games in the weekend and you see like we just played at Tottenham and there's 62,000 or whatever, and then you look at a Super Rugby game and stadiums are empty. So it's like in some aspects we probably are doing better, and like being able to play in front of a full crowd every week is a pretty cool thing, and that I thought you sort of thrived from that, I think. So
100%. Well, I got a question on something there, because you said we played in front of 62,000. You didn't play because you were injured. And I don't think Quinn's played either, did they? They didn't turn up. Sorry to say.
No. We talk about this game. We've had Andre Hesterhays, and I've played in these derby matches. I know you would have watched them back in the day. But they were proper. As in the rivalry between Sarries and Quinns. And we were talking about it. Quinns just didn't turn up. That's an obvious thing. The scoreline says that. Has there been a conversation around that, like the reason why?
Like we're recording Monday. How brutal was the review today?
It's a hard thing to ask a young man as well, for you, being such a young lad.
Yeah, no, it's tough. I think everyone sort of gets those games though where it's like you do just you're not there on the day. And I think like obviously Sarries had a big loss to Exeter, and Northampton just had a big loss as well. I think you can get those games and bounce back, and I think the boys will. Like obviously it's pretty tough coming in on Monday after something like that, but yeah, we just weren't really clicking that day. I don't think we didn't really shoot any shots or anything like that. But next week will be a better week.
Sam Underhill called you a freak athlete, and so you talked about doing extras with Jordan Turner Hall. Is it natural? I mean, I'm not saying is it drugs, but as in, is it naturally you've always been a big lad, and obviously you work hard in the gym or that stuff, or is it something like we played with Tom Croft, right? Who was a bit of a freak,
rangy
freak, but he struggled to put any weight on, but he was an absolute athletic freak, wasn't he, in a back row? But you've bulked up massively, haven't you? Over the last
I think I've actually lost weight.
Do you reckon?
What are you weighing in at, kgs?
I short bounce from 118 to 120.
Same as me. We're both freaks.
Same as I used to be.
Yeah, same as you used to be.
I think when I first came over here at 18, I was like 125. But chubby, 125.
Right. Yeah, maybe that's the thing. So, like, you look monstrous now.
Yeah, cut down a bit, but sort of just getting more muscle on and stuff. But I suppose, a lot of it to do with genetics. Got to thank mum and dad for that. But a lot of work as well.
And it's graft in the gym.
Yeah.
How many weight sessions do you boys do a week now? Because I avoided about 3, I reckon.
It's a big thing now, isn't it? That athletic foundation, right?
Yeah, I think I'm doing more now that I'm rehabbing than I was before. Like, obviously, I think it's 4 or 5 a week now I'm rehabbing. I think when we're usually game week, it's about 3. But yeah, it's a big onus on it. I like doing the power stuff, like sort of the explosive movements and stuff. I feel like that helps, like in the game. But then obviously some of the boys love the bench press and stuff like that. But not really for me. You're
not a bench man?
Not really a big gym guy, but
just natural.
Just natural power. I used to hate people like that.
But that's what it's interesting watching. I say interesting watching, again, been there and done it. Like the more games you play, the less likely you are to be able to get in the gym and start throwing tin around.
Yeah.
But you look at like Ben Earl, who is a freak and clearly does. He's got a lot of muscle mass. Like Freddie Stewart, I don't want to call him out, but when I went to Leicester, I saw him with his shirt off. And I felt like, I thought he'd be bigger. Like that's what I thought. But he was bigger because he's played, I don't know, 20 games on the bounce.
Yeah.
it's difficult then to, go from a Six Nations playing week in, week out, straight into the Prem.
Yeah.
So it's actually when you're injured, that's the time, I suppose, where you get hammered upper body.
I think literally as the season goes in, your sort of scores just go down.
Yeah.
It's just like, and then you have to wait to pre-season again and sort of bulk up again. But yeah, you can get the weight sessions done.
Because that back row is ultra competitive, isn't it? Obviously, Sam Underhill saying that about you is obviously a massive compliment. And I look at him and go, no one chop tackles better in probably World Rugby than Sam Underhill and how powerful he is. You mentioned Ben Earls yourself. There's players like Zach Mercer in the Prem, different kind of strength, footwork as well. Billy, I'd hate to be a back rower now. Like it's
stacked.
It's stacked, isn't it? And you'll look at each other and go, yeah, he's got this, I've got this. And it must be quite daunting for some people, but you just love it with a smile on your face thinking...
Have to smile through it.
That's the job, right?
Who's the one? Who do you look at in the back row? Like, I'm going to profile you of like a Peter Steph the Toy kind of size and profile, but who do you look at where you're like, right, that's the game. That's the one.
I think it's Adi Sevilla, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
He's the guy everyone's sort of chasing at the moment, I'd say. Ben Earls doing a pretty good job at it.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, that sort of athletic, like sort of a bit short and just like balls of muscle like those two. Yeah,
it's like with Ben Earl. He doesn't look like he should get through tackles because he's not that tall, is he? But he's so powerful.
That's the natural. That's like a freak. Like chatting to Sam Warburton about like Ben, and now the game more so. You've come on the scene probably at the right time, Chandler, because the game is about athletes, right? We could plod around and point it at you in slow motion.
I would be amateur as they come.
But like the perfect example is watching the lads do the NFL. The international player pathway program, and it's all based on like athleticism, and like that's what scores. It is, and on scores. But in rugby back in the day, we're rolling around in the mud in slow motion, and then you'd go and do a slow roaming session on there. But do you base yourselves on that? Is everything coming through the system now about athleticism and numbers, or not? Is it still that kind of all round?
Not really. Like, I don't think if I don't hit a bench press, I'm not going to make a team. So I don't think that's the case. But like nowadays, you've got to be pretty big to be playing at this level, especially in certain positions. Like obviously in the back row, maybe 9s and 10s doesn't matter as much, but in the back row, you've got to be able to stop, like, win collisions, I guess.
That is true. Talking about back row then, we had Big Courts on here, Courtney Laws, and he reckons your best position could be number 8. And you've played 6, 7 and 8 across the last year or so, haven't you?
Yeah.
7 as well?
I think I played 7 once.
Yeah, take it. Cool number. It's a cool number 7 though, isn't it?
You can play anywhere across the back. What's your favourite position? 6, 8? Bearing in mind you just said you only played 7 once. I could have sworn it was a few more, but
take it.
I like number 8 probably the most.
Yeah.
But that's just because you can just take the ball off the back of the scrum whenever you want. And then you're out in the line out and you get to carry. Those big carries like off the line out, those ones are nice to run. But 6 is good for me, like this year, especially like learning all the line outs and stuff like that. It's another string to the bow, I guess. So
that's the money maker. Being in the line out, being a jumper.
Especially with Steve.
I was going to say Steve. Yeah, Steve ain't putting you out in the backs.
But so probably learning both and then just being available, I guess, is the best way to do it.
Is there a massive difference apart from the obvious things like 8 picks the ball from the scrum, but 6 and 8 now are pretty similar roles, aren't they? Even 7, the back rows can play across the whole 3.
I think the only thing is just the line outs.
Yeah,
that's probably the main difference. And then you probably make the same amount of tackles as a 6 and 8. I think probably just the line outs would be the main thing.
Chatting to agents and stuff like that, part of it is building the brand, right? So it's not just the player on the pitch. The biggest value, you talk about Saudi money coming in and the growth of the game, and everyone's talking about it's about the athletes. The argument is that your brand's got to be almost bigger, if not the same level as your ability on the pitch. So how hard is it in rugby, which has always been about values and team and stuff like that, to actually put yourself out there? Like, it's great that you've come in the studio now and, the vibe that you've got and stuff like that, and you can see that. But there needs to be an intentional part to that, doesn't there? Like they do in other sports, and be unapologetic about it. I
think it's sort of like in other sports, you sort of see the arrogance and the personality of players come out a bit more. I think, obviously, like with the rugby, I think it's like you go and you do your job, and then you can do your other stuff on the side when you're not there. Which is like, I get it, but obviously, if you can you can do a bit more cool celebrations. Like if you look at the NRL, for example, like those guys are pretty fucking cool. And then you see all the stuff they're doing off the pitch and all of the sort of the image they all have. Like I think every girl in England basically follows that Jordan Ricky guy nowadays. Yeah. So it's like
and boy.
Yeah,
you do, don't you?
Yeah, I do. But you know me. Even as a player, mate, I was pushing.
He's a good-looking guy, though. To be fair,
who, me or him?
Jordan Ricky. He's calling back in the day.
He's calling you granddad.
But it's interesting because you can see. Like we were talking about the NRL, right? It's in Vegas and they're all turning up. And even Marrow at the weekend, we were talking about Marrow. He's got the pearl earring that's now turned into a 3 times the size gold one. He ain't wearing the Sarri's jogging bottoms, the Castors. He's got the baggier, like looking a lot cooler, a lot edgier. So you see the NRLs walk into Vegas and they're all kitted out in like the NFL.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think we could do that though.
So do keep going then. Go on, give us some ideas of what you think.
I reckon if we could wear our own clothes into like walk out and stuff, that'd be pretty cool. But obviously it might be tough with the brands and stuff like that. I don't know, because obviously the team, like whoever you're sponsored by the team probably wants you to wear their kit. But like it would be pretty cool if you could just rock up in a baggy suit or something to the game. Like
a baggy suit.
Looking like the NBA players and NFL players. And then you'd probably get to see a bit more of like people's characters and how they dress and stuff, which would be quite cool.
1,000,000%.
No, I do agree with that. You mentioned celebrations earlier. Is that one thing? I'm trying to think of when you've scored. I don't mean that you haven't scored.
It's tough for us forwards, bro.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate that.
Well, Manicello was doing something, wasn't he? He was doing like the love art or something.
Yeah. Have you got something? Have you got like a trademark or a celebration?
I got something in the locker, but I've got to save that. I can't be giving out the secrets yet.
No.
Well, maybe we'll be able to see it when Quins take on Saints in a big summer kickoff. You'll be back for that.
No, that would be a big game.
Tell us why people should buy tickets then, because obviously, firstly, you're going to be back. Secondly, you're going to score
and do a celebration.
Do the celeb.
I love that.
They want to see it live as well.
Nice. Why else should they get down to Twickenham? It's an amazing day out, isn't it? I know you have the big game as well, but this one is very special.
Yeah,
too.
it'll be a big game. Like I didn't actually play in the big game, but being there it was pretty cool. Like I was a bit gutted I wasn't a part of it, but it looked unreal. And you got someone performing beforehand, and
Jess Glynn
performing beforehand, and then it looks like a big booze up outside as well. If you're into that sort of thing, so no, I think it'll be a good day out.
And you're definitely going to pull out the celebration.
I'll pull out the celebration if I score.
Are you saving it for that game?
Yeah, I'll save it for that game.
We've heard it here first.
Pod. Rugby Pod.